What's your value? What's your self-worth? What are you worth, man?
When you say what's your worth, the first thing I start thinking of is, okay, what do I have in the bank? But it's like, and it's fucked up to think that. But that's the default programming that our society has given us. When you
Yeah.
ask what our worth is, though, and if you're putting me on the spot, I would say my value is not in what I can do, but is in who I can influence and improve. Right?
Mm.
Like, I may be the $1.3 million electrician, but at the same time, that's not all I am. And there's so much more that I can give to the world that goes beyond that. I say in my mission statement that I want to make people better than me, and I want to be the floor of what this program can do.
Hello and welcome back to Electricpreneur Secrets, the Electrician's podcast. It is Friday. Joe, it is my day, not taking from you, just saying, representing. It's a great day to have a great day. Why not on Friday?
Oh,
Are you having a great day, my friend?
actually, yes. I'm really, really feeling good, especially after yesterday's episode. I feel like I got off and was like, wow, I got to take some reflection, you know? So I'm feeling great today.
Yeah, we hit some passion notes. I appreciate you deep diving on that miserable millionaire electrician bit. Man, that was a powerful episode. And
Yeah.
more recently, we've got off at the end and said, God, that might be the favorite one. That might be the favorite one. This might be the favorite one. It just keeps
Mhm.
getting more and more powerful. We love to share this stuff. And I cannot wait to share with you about what today's episode is about. Would you like to hear?
Fuck yeah. Go for it.
Well, simple, really. A couple of master electricians with business addictions go live like they did the other 4 days of the week to help electricians master sales, simplify pricing, and deliver premium level electrical service. Thanks for the little cadence, the dance with it.
I love it.
Today, we're talking about that duality of being the process robot, which you know so well, and shining through authentically through a sales process, which, as
Mhm.
we started to discuss yesterday, that authenticity is a huge piece because a lot of this is just about energy.
Mhm.
And guys, if you couldn't tell, we beat the sensitive stuff to death. Like how much of this has been on the fulfillment side and the personal work throughs, therapies, all the stuff we've talked about to build this energy up so that you can present properly in a great shape,
Mhm.
right? Help people to help yourself. Or is it the other way around? Help yourself to help people,
Mhm.
but also do it consistently in a way that you believe in your self-worth and actually your ability to help people even when they say no. Man, big week. And it's all for sales sanity, right? So if you didn't get the Wednesday action piece, that value piece, that two-step offer we're giving away, you can still type that if you're with us on the Facebook community page, Electricpreneur Secrets, or you can jump on our webpage, serviceloopelectrical.com, and type sales sanity. And we're going to send you this piece to help you, to guide you through both the fulfillment and the science side of this, because we're committed. We need you to succeed. So, Joe, let me ask you something.
Mhm.
What's your value? Oh, that's a big bad one. This is a big bad open-ended question. What's your value? What's your self-worth? What are you worth, man?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is I start running all this is the fucked up part. When you say what's your worth, the first thing I start thinking of is, okay, what do I have in the bank? What are my assets? It's like, and it's fucked up to think that. But that's the default programming that our society has given us. When you
Yeah.
ask what our worth is, though, and if you're putting me on the spot, I would say my value is not in what I can do, but is in who I can influence and improve. Right?
Hmm.
Like, I may be the $1.3 million electrician, but at the same time, that's not all I am. And there's so much more that I can give to the world that goes beyond that. I say in my mission statement that I want to make people better than me, and I want to be the floor of what this program can do. And I think deep down, I do that because I never felt okay with who I was. And I
I
wanted
like
to
where
make
you're
it better.
going. I like where you're going. I want to tie this to something quickly.
Mhm.
So, when we're talking about authenticity, it's really important to recognize why. Where are we coming from? What's our story? What do you want? As we said, all-star action yesterday. What do you
Mhm.
want? And then why? And then go a level deeper. And you've already taken us to a couple levels. So, in your desire at this point to help electricians, let me ask you again, why?
Why do I want to help electricians? The reason why I want to help us is because I said us. We're electricians. And I remember being 14 years old on a new construction job site and not knowing anything and feeling like I was utterly worthless. And then going the next 6 years and still feeling useless, even though I was a great electrician at the time. And started, go ahead.
Why
Are
did
you
you
raising
feel
your hand?
useless?
Why did I feel useless? I felt useless because when you're different and you don't know why you're different, and you just know that people aren't connecting with you and you're not connecting with them, you end up being the third wheel in most situations. And it never feels good to be that. And I don't want people to feel like that. That's why I'm so open with my neurodivergence, because if I had had someone tell me this is what it looks like, maybe I could have gotten a therapy earlier. Maybe I could have figured it out. And literally, those fears drove me to want to end myself. So if I can take someone off that path, even just for a day, I'm willing to put myself out there and embarrass myself from in front of all the internet trolls and just say, I'm going to do this because why the fuck not? I need to be better than what I was.
I'm going to stop that exercise there, but I learned this from a couple of my mentors, and they call it the exercise of the five whys. And we only
Mm-hmm.
went to a couple, and you're a willing participant who shared a lot of information there, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But if we started to go even deeper, we really uncover some nerves there. Kind of like when your tooth gets sensitive, right? Just from
Mm-hmm.
decay naturally over time. If we're not flossing, if we're not brushing every day, if we're not constantly working on this, then
Mm-hmm.
that decay leads to that sensitivity. And that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm losing my voice. Hang on. I'm back. Is that a first on the podcast?
I
Frog.
was gonna say it wasn't me the first time. All right.
As we go deeper into these whys, we uncover that sensitivity, and eventually that level of five whys often has people in tears. That's why it's so important to understand, what do I want? That's why I
Mhm.
asked you, I challenge you guys with that. What do you want and why? And then why again? And then why again? And if you really get down to the root of it, most of this comes down to things that are out of our control, that already happened, that are just a
Mhm.
perception that we hold and we carry with us, this dark cloud that we talked about yesterday. And I
Mhm.
just wanted to tie this all together, Joe. Please jump back in with me, brother.
No worries. I was gonna say that the why just keeps coming back up because now it's like stuck in my head. And I keep wanting to ask, like, why is this? Why is this? Why is this? And I really just think that my deep down why is we electricians aren't used to being exposed to sensitive emotional things. We're used to being told if you don't do this, you're not shit. If you can't bend 1 inch conduit by hand and know the measurements without a single connector piece, you're useless as an electrician. So I just want people to know that you can be an emotional person and be in touch with who you are and still be financially successful, and actually correlating the two by saying you can and you will be by getting in touch with more of who you are.
Totally, totally. And I heard a stat the other day that kind of corresponds with your forthcomingness about, the depression and maybe thoughts of taking your life and attempts. In Canada, I heard this stat. Now I could be wrong, but a valuable resource told me this: 40%. And what that number represents is the increase men to women suicide rates. There are 40% more men, grown men, that take their own lives in
Mm-hmm.
Canada, at least, than there are women. Now,
Yeah.
I'm imagining that stat is across, because Western civilization, I mean, it's kind of the same up here. We say a more. It's a little more pleasant, like your boy, the peasant here, holding doors open for people and thanking them to walk through. Only I could turn a laugh after a suicide chat, seriously. But guys, I
I'm
want you to
sorry. I
know
love it.
this because it's valuable. Some of the most alpha friends I've had through the trades, through the years, have admitted to me over recent times of having full blown panic and anxiety attacks.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't take away from your manhood. That doesn't take away from the fact that you're the lion for your family. It doesn't take away from the fact that you are the bull that protects them. It doesn't take away from the fact that you have everything you need to support them and keep everyone safe and protected. It's okay to be vulnerable. And I hope, if nothing else, our leadership just shows that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure we still have listeners. Maybe we've lost 40% of them at this point. But you know what, Joe, if we did, then we kept the 60% that we really care about, that actually feel the way we feel about this, because this is important and no one's talking about it. So can we just honestly honor a mental health moment and say, like,
Mm-hmm.
guys, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. You can connect to this. You can work through this. You can be forthcoming too and talk to someone about this. If you don't have someone to talk to, then reach out to us, because we do care. We don't just talk about it. This isn't, again, it's not the flashy podcast with all the flashy shit like cows mooing and cats meowing that Joe loved so much before. We literally come here, we get vulnerable, and we try to help you guys be the best potential that you could possibly be. And what that means is surviving and thriving in our industry, in your chosen path, in your ability to help yourself and help others. Please, Joe, go ahead.
I want to take that statement and I want to enhance it slightly.
All right.
Because the thing is that it's not that we just want to enhance it and make them thrive, is that we want to bring out what you already are so that you can believe it when you succeed.
Dude,
That's, I think, the real thing behind it. It's like, you can be
perfect
successful.
bridge.
Like, you could get there. You could be 2, 3, 4, $5 million. But if you don't believe that you deserve it, you never will. And that's the point. You'll feel guilty about it. You'll give it away, or you'll keep chasing more.
Yep.
And
100%.
that's the real rat race. It's not just a race to the bottom. You know, men in this society are expected to be providers for everything. And I can get the pressure. It's like a pressure cooker. It literally is going to boil you if you can't get out of it. So the thought is that you not only deserve it, but you have to believe that you do. Because if you don't, you'll never get there.
Yeah. No, I love that. And it's a perfect bridge. You know what? Masculinity is a rock of pride. It is. It's proud to be masculine. It's proud to be blue collar. It's proud to work hard. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
prideful is the better term for it, but you get what I'm saying. These things are
Mm-hmm.
proud, but don't let that pride lead to your internal
Demise.
decay, your
Mm-hmm.
demise, right? Like the sensitive tooth that never got the filling, never
Mm-hmm.
got fixed, never got the due attention that it needed. But you did paint a perfect picture and built a great bridge for this, because we're tying this back, right, to that authenticity. And that's what's so important about today's show, and about what we want you to take away from this, is that no process should ever overrule, or the memory and the roboticness, the attempt to be perfect in a process should never override your ability to be authentic and just be yourself and be able to connect with people and help them in a way that others aren't or can't or won't. So the irony here is, you've got the sales bot right here in front of me, right? You've got Clay Newmeyer, the pleasant peasant, telling you, yes, we teach the sales process. We teach the science of this stuff. We can help you troubleshoot all of this if you have the resilience and the intestinal fortitude to stick with it, have some emotional regulation, stick to the play, and remain authentic through everything that you're trying to implement.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a perfect example of this. How often have you ever seen someone give a lecture or a speech or be on stage or something, just grab the mic and go, fuck, I'm nervous as hell right now?
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly,
What's
the first,
wrong with that?
there's nothing wrong with it. Literally. And the reason is because the first time that, or one of the first times I ever had to make a major public speech, the first thing I said was, I'm terrified of public speaking, which I was at the time. And I was
Did
like,
they
I'm
laugh?
sorry. I got a standing ovation at the end because I got through it. But it was one of those things where like, yeah, people were like, okay, I feel for him. Let's not boo him.
Yeah,
Just,
give a little
it felt a
grace.
little better.
I just find like if you go out and you're just like the quiet mic drop, I'm actually terrified of this. Sometimes you
Mhm.
get a couple giggles from that, but absolutely, I don't want to take away from your story, Joe. It's a really powerful example of what we're talking about here. Just the same, right? We call you the sales bot because of that level of detail orientation,
Mhm.
that level of commitment to the list, to the
Mhm.
process. You are
Mhm.
fantastic at that.
Thank you.
But that's the stuff that anyone can learn.
Correct.
Anyone with enough willpower can commit themselves to the level that you do of just getting the list done.
Mhm. I
And the
agree.
list is actually quite simple. We built it in our sales sanity value piece this week. It includes the demand call lotto. So you've got the checklist to do it, to run the play. You've got the checklist to prepare yourself for it, to run the play, and the post call facts to come back after and improve on your execution of that list. That's easy. That's the easy stuff. We can do that. What we
Mhm.
find is hard along the way is people finding themselves through that list in front of a customer still.
Yeah.
Authenticity. So, Joe, what are your thoughts on how important is it to be authentically you and maybe even tie in knowing your why to help you with that?
So I'm gonna bring up something that you probably are not expecting me to do,
All right,
but
let's
it's
do it.
gonna, I think, be really helpful.
Is it me?
Yes. Remember this? I'm
Mhm.
wearing a necklace that you gave me. But the reason why I'm wearing it is because of what it says. And it means so much to me. What it says is esse quam videri, which is Latin for to be rather than to appear. The reason why this is so important is that authenticity. I know who I am. And I am a man with flaws, many of them. But I would rather be who I am than appear to be someone else. I would rather be hated for who I am than loved for what I'm not. Because if you try to be something you're not and people love you for it, you'll never want to be you. And I've been that guy. So now I'm going to be me. And I wear this every day. Also, almost a shield full of scars. Because I say, you know what? I'm going to be me authentically every day, for better or for worse. Because at least I could put my head on the pillow and say, I did it. I was me and it didn't kill me.
Wow, man. Mic drop moment again. Huge passion from Joe this week. I appreciate that share. And that's what I felt when I read that. It's just so you, man. Not to make this about us, but being authentically you, representing that in the way that you do, that passion you just heard. That's all we ask of you. And we ask you to lead your team with that same inspiration. I would never ask someone on my team to be anyone other than what they are, right? I would never ask
Mhm.
them to do that because I want you to shine through as a person. I want you to connect. And if you're managing a team right now and listening to this, then you've probably seen reviews come in where someone gives an honorable mention to John. Man, we love John. I would just have John over for dinner. We could have him again and again. John catered to our needs. He was, expedient. He was kind and courteous. He managed our schedule well. John was great. That's the stuff that the process doesn't quite get you.
Mhm.
There's pieces, but it won't get you that character flair. There's
Mhm.
no amount of robot that could shine through to get that level of quality feedback. Yes,
If I may,
please go.
I remember that my sales were low before I went to therapy. Not that they were low, but they were lower than what I was capable of. And I didn't realize that I was able to do it. And I remember the first time that I broke a million, it was, I believe, a year after therapy. I was one through. So I want people to know that the things they're saying, like how, you're talking about this John who was able to show all these things. I actually didn't become better until I started working on myself. And I received the financial reward for that development. So it's just one of those things where you guys may say, like, well, why are you talking about all this sensitive shit? Like, why is this coming up? How do we learn how to sell more? This is it. You guys are listening. Are you listening and are you hearing us? They're two different things. What we're trying to say is that that authentic self that you have, only you can unlock. But when you can come in touch with that person, you'll be able to show that individualism that people will want to have you come back. This is what makes you stand out from your competitor. This is what makes them call back. This is what makes them like, trust, and respect you. It's not just figuring out who they used in the past and why they used you. It's why the fuck are they calling you back? That's the thing. That's what you have to be. I needed to be that person. And I finally got there and my results spoke for it. I know every single one of you can do it as well. That's why we're so passionate about this.
100%, man. I love that. And we're just kind of going down analogy lane here, but like, again, that process is the map. It's the strategy. You're the knight.
Yeah.
You get to run the play. You get to make the strategy worthwhile, right? There may be things between the lines. In fact, there should be things between the lines. Here's what would happen if you were a robot, literally. You would miss all the gaps between the lines and you would never actually do the 1.3 million consistently.
It wouldn't happen. There's
no way. And it would be so consistent that people would just expect it and actually demean the value.
You know, I remember that. Like, you know, it's one of those things where people say like, well, how did you do it? And it's like, okay, well, every month, $100,000 came in. Every month. It's just what it was. It was like a lotto machine, just kept coming in because the process was consistent. But eventually it started getting to the point where you're like, oh, well, this is just the normal now. And now it's like, that can't be the case. You have to be able to appreciate the accomplishments you got, because if you don't appreciate it, no one will.
100%, man. Man, this has been a good week. I'm going to narrow down to some data and some science here for a minute to finish this off. We'll get into some action items and close this out. What do you say?
I'm so fucking down. Let's do it. Let's bring some real value to them.
So this week, I even did an exercise with one of our clients one-to-one where we went through our post-call facts. Literally going down the data. I wanted to demonstrate to this individual, thanks, brother, you're doing great, keep it going, right? That this can easily be done with a 3 to 5 minute investment at the end of every call. We've made it so easy to do so just by checking a box and writing a few words beneath it on about half of the questions. They're all that simple, little things. But by the end of it, and we spent about 15 minutes together really going through each point, understanding the value. By the end of it, we had highlighted 3 main points. And we said, okay, if these keep showing up consistently, let's go run this play 10 times this month. Bring back 10 post-call facts. If these highlighted sections keep showing consistently, that's got to be the main focus.
Agreed.
It's what we assumed from the data we have, but we only have one sheet, so we highlighted them. That's what we're going to work on. But if it keeps showing up, then we're going to deep dive even further on those things. As soon as this is laid out in a sheet, Joe, it's so easy to look at. So instead of your team member, your staff, your salesman coming to you and going, well, this doesn't work, your process sucks.
Yeah.
Clients don't buy. Everyone's on the couch. They don't even want to come to the kitchen. No one respects me at the door. Our price is too high. I'm in a sales slump and it's all the process's fault. All of these things happen routinely and in that tonality because of the emotional baggage. With this process that we're giving away for free this week, the sales sanity process to gain control over your team, over your process, over your sales, and over your client satisfaction, you literally have the data to make these decisions and look at it plain as day after the fact and go, wow, I can't believe I was ever upset about that. It makes perfect sense. It's right here on the sheet. That's the superpower that we've given away this week, guys. I know we've gone into the sensitive, but I needed to close with that and make sure we all know, because we've covered this waste of time concept. There's no such thing, only if we don't take these extra efforts to make the most of every call. Be able to troubleshoot and build that team up, because their greater success is in your hands, or your greater success is in your hands. So as we discussed, help yourself to help others. We discussed responsive electricians versus reactive electricians on episode 135. That difference between blame, excuses, denial, ownership, accountability, and responsibility.
Mhm.
Only one gets you growth. We discussed in full our sales sanity framework, how it works, and even gave an example. Of course, yesterday we went through the miserable millionaire electrician. Joe's been sharing passion for a couple episodes, and here we are to
Mhm.
close out the week. Joe, biggest action of the week that absolutely every electrician listening needs to do. What do you say?
I'm down. So you want to do actions and all stars?
Yeah, let's
Because
do it,
I'm
man.
all right. I have the all star action already top of mind.
Okay.
Is it okay if I run with that?
Well, let me throw this action in then quick.
Sure.
It'll be easy.
Sure.
If you haven't got the value pieces yet, what are you waiting for? We're giving this away. You have our entire demand call sales process with this. You have our entire post call self diagnostics, post call facts to be short. Now, if you're wondering why would they just give it to me? Clearly this doesn't work. It's not doesn't have value if they're giving it away. Why would they give everything? Because strategy is not the solution here. We want you to take the strategy, employ the strategy, and bring us back to wins. It's as simple and as humble as that. We want to change this industry. And hoarding information from you hoarding information from your staff, holding everyone down to the limits they're at, that's not doing anyone any good.
Mhm.
So don't listen to what we say, watch what we do. Go on our website, servicesoupelectrical.com. Join us on the Electripreneur Facebook community page and type in Sales Sanity now to get your copy. That's my bare action for this week. If you haven't done it, I just got to ask why. Go ahead, Joe. All star me.
I have an all star moment, and it's also going to be a little more vulnerable as well, but I really think it'll help people.
You're right.
So I remember earlier I talked about the necklace that I wear, and there was one other thing that's on it that I think is going to be a very important all star action. Now, on it is the image of a dog. And what that's supposed to represent is loyalty. That's not loyalty to something else, it's loyalty to yourself. And it's so hard to recognize that because so many of us aren't loyal to ourselves. We believe that we don't deserve what we have, or if we're in a bad place, we do believe that we deserve it. Why is that? Why is it that when you succeed, you don't feel like you deserve it, but when you fail, you do? My all star action is this. It may sound simple, but it's not simple when you try it. Can you truly be loyal to yourself? Can you say, I will do this for me? And when I do this, it'll be to better myself. And through that betterment, I will be a light to others. If you can have that loyalty to yourself, growth will come. It cannot avoid you at that point. Because now that you're in the mindset to receive that blessing, you now have the ability and the discipline to take action on it. So who would you rather be? Are you going to be loyal to the dollar or loyal to the person holding it?
Incredibly powerful, man. With that, that's another hot mic moment, guys. I'm dropping it right here. This has been another episode 138, Joe, of Electripreneur Secrets, the Electrician's podcast. And what I can guarantee you is that this week, the podcast value is high, well over $1 million of value given away here. Because if this helps even one person unlock their own self-worth to help themselves and serve others at the highest level, then I know you're not going to just hit $1 million year. You're going to hit multiples and build a multi-million dollar business. We're looking for the one. Is that you? That's my question. We'll be back next week again. Help electricians master sales, simplify pricing, and deliver premium level electrical service. Thanks, Joe. Have a great weekend, man.
My pleasure, brother.